Welcome back, everyone, to our show. I'm Belinda Ellsworth, and I'm so excited that you are here. And today we are talking about setting your business goals for 2026. Now, some of you may be saying, I should have already done these, right? Well, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. And you want to know what? That's okay. There's sort of a saying out there in the business world is so goes January, so goes the rest of your year. And you know what? Um, if you get off to a great start in January, then yeah, your year's going to take off a little bit quicker. But if you didn't get off to a great start in January, guess what? You can start in February and it's going to be just fine. So I've kind of done it both ways in my career over the years. I've hit the ground running hardcore in January, and I've had a great year. And then I've kind of relaxed and fell into January and just said, all right, I'm going to enjoy this post-holiday season. Like, for example, my daughter was home from school and from college, and she didn't have to go back until January 19th. And so I was like, you know what? I did a little bit of things here and there, but I didn't really get moving with my business in the degree. I did the things I had to do, but as far as like, here's my plan, here's my goals, I didn't do that because I wanted to spend that time with her. That she's a senior this year, and like who knows where she'll be moving to and if she'll be able to get those kinds of breaks where she's home for a month. So I'm like, I might as well really enjoy this and spend every day with her and stay up late and watch movies and do different crazy things and enjoy life with her, because who knows if we're going to have that next Christmas. She might be working somewhere that she only gets to come home for a week. Who knows? Or maybe a couple of days. I mean, that's the reality of life, right? So you have to sort of grab it while you have it. And that's what I did. And that's okay, because now I'm hitting the ground running in February. So it's okay. So we're going to talk about setting business goals. And the first thing that you want to do is you want to review your current performance. So we want to analyze and we want to look at KPIs that you had for 2025. So one of the things that I'm really big on, and we're going to talk more about it, but I'm really big on analytics, because what gets tracked sees growth. And so a lot of people, they don't even know how to set a goal because they're not comparing it to anything that they've already done. So and especially when I'm consulting with a company, it's like, well, let's look at your figures. What did you do? We can't compare February to January and then March to February. And this is a mistake, believe it or not, that so many people make in business. And so we're not comparing apples to apples. So it's like, we have to see, what did you do in January of last year and how much growth have we had in January of this year? That's your growth factor. And so then I can see, oh, we grew by whatever percent. What percent do I think I can grow by this year? Here's another myth in business growth is in the beginning of growing your business, you will typically see a larger amount of growth in the very beginning. Like in those first few years, it might be growing by 100, 200, 300, 400%. I mean, this can happen. It very easily. But as you are in business longer, you can't expect to have a 200 or 300% growth on an ongoing basis. You'd like to. So then we set goals based on that same thing. No, what typical type of growth would I like to see? And so you can set your goals based on what did I do at this time last year? Because a January is pretty equal to a January. A November, which if you sell products and it's in the holiday season, a November is much different than January. And you can't compare one to the other. I was doing some consulting with a bakery, and I was talking with him in January, and I said, how is this year going? He said, oh, we're down by like 40%. And I said, are you serious? Because I kind of knew most of his numbers. I said, that doesn't even make good sense. And he said, it was over December. Well, in December, they were selling all kinds of pies and cakes and baked goods and everything for the holidays. And I'm like, you can't compare January to December. Let's go back and look at what did you do last January? Oh, surprise, surprise. We've had a 20% growth over January of last year. And if you've been in business for a long time, 20 or 30% of growth is still very good. It's exciting. So, but he in his mind is going, "Oh my gosh, we're at a 40%. We're down 40%." No, we're not. And so having those analytics and to be able to set your goals. So the better thing to do is say, "Okay, what did we do last January? All right, let's set it for a 25% growth or 20% growth. This is the number we're shooting for." So now you're feeling in a completely different way about your business. So we have to analyze and we have to say, okay, where am I at right now and where do I want to go? And then you have to look at your KPIs, the key performance indicators of what you set for last year. Which ones did you hit? Which ones did you miss? And what do you need to adjust? So we're not going to feel bad about this. You don't feel bad when you don't hit a particular goal or number. You just say, okay, I need to assess and I need to adjust. Let's go. And so that's important to take the time when you are getting ready to set your business goals for 2026 is to first review your current situation and then look at your analytics from the year before so that you can set appropriate goals. All right. The next one is look at do an analysis of what's current, like what are the trends right now that are happening? What are your competitors doing and how are they doing? Now, we never want to compare ourselves to others. Like there's a danger in that. And I can talk a little bit about that here in just a second. But knowing what your competitors are doing is important because maybe there's something that they're doing that you're like, I like that. We're not comparing ourselves to, wow, look at how many followers they have. Oh, wow, look at how much they're selling. Oh, wow, look at what no, that's not what we're doing. Now, we're not looking at competitors for that. We're looking at competitors to like, wow, they're here and I would like to eventually be there. What things could I emulate? What things are they doing that I could implement into my business right now? That's why it's important to see what other people are doing. You also want to see what's popular, what's trending, what seems to be working. And you want to say, am I adding those things into my business? So I have never had really a YouTube channel before. I'm going to be super honest about it. I spent a lot of time growing Facebook, and a lot of what I did was building my email list, and that was done in person a lot. I mean, there was a point in time where I had several hundred people on my email list, several 100,000 people on my email list. I should rephrase that. And so, I mean, I had a healthy email list, and that was how I measured that growth. And so YouTube wasn't a place that I was spending any time at. So now I have decided to. So guess what? I've spent a lot of time looking at other people's YouTube channels. How do they start? How are they keeping it interesting? Like what tools are they using? So I'm just trying to watch, and I'm also trying to emulate, like, who do I like and why do I like them? And what things do I like about their show? Like what's making me show up and watch it every single day versus another person's. And so then I kind of start to see, ooh, it's because they do this. It's because they get to the point. I love people to get to the point. I don't like a whole lot of philosophy around stuff. I like facts. I like to get to the point. I like it to be something that I'm going to actually have a takeaway from. And lots of people like to do a lot of philosophy where they're adding in their own take and their own opinions and everything else. And so that's not me. And so I tend to lean into people on their YouTube channels that kind of cut to the chase and get to the point. And I think some people like that better, and you pay attention more or you listen. But that's my opinion, right? So, but I know what attracts me, and so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to look at those, or I like this, or that's what I don't like about that. I like this about it, but I don't like that about it. So this is what I'm going to do. All right. The next one is you need to set SMART goals. And I know probably many of you go, oh, I've heard that over and over, but we're going to like break it down and say, what is a SMART goal? Like, let's really talk about it. So SMART is an acronym, and so it is, the S stands for specific. So when you are setting a goal, you want to be specific about what it is that you really want. You can't just say, oh, I'd like to lose weight. So, or, oh, I would like to do $1 million in sales. Like, that is pretty specific, but maybe you would want to increase by X. Maybe you would like to, instead of just picking a number out of the air, we're going to actually be very specific. Or I would like my business to grow. Instead of just saying, I'd really like to grow my business this year, be specific. How much do you want it to grow by? And then we're going to get to the other ones. What's realistic, right? Measurable. How are you going to measure that? I've already given you a couple of ideas. Doing tracking, doing analytics is going to be super important, because then you're going to actually be able to see. Half the people have no clue if what they're doing is working or it isn't working. Like even with your YouTube videos, you want to put like, oh, which one's for right now, I'm doing it in a simple, easy way. I've got a content calendar. I've got down what I'm going to do. And then I'm going back and putting how many views on that. How is that growing? I'm also seeing, oh, what video got more views than another? Maybe I should be doing more of that. Or what was it about that one? Maybe there is no rhyme nor reason, but you can start to sort of see if you are tracking that. Because otherwise, you can think in your head you're doing good, or you think you're not doing good. And either one may or may not be true. So is it measurable? So how am I going to measure this? And that could be through analytics. It could be through tracking. It could be, there's a variety of ways, but what's your way of measuring how you're having success with that? Number 3, the A stands for, is it achievable? And a lot of people set goals based on nothing. Like they pick it out of the air, or they look at somebody else and they say, oh, that's what I'm going to set it for. But is it achievable? And one of the things you should ask yourself always, am I willing and able to do this? This is going to help it be achievable. And these are two different things. Are you willing and able to do it? So sometimes you could be willing to do it, but physically you're not able. Maybe you have 3 kids under the age of 5, and it's going to be difficult. Maybe you have an aging parent that you are responsible and a caregiver of. Then is it going to be available for you to do this? Are you willing and able? And so you have to look at that. Sometimes you're perfectly able to do it. You've got all the time in the world to do something, but you're not willing. Like in your mind, you're like, I don't really want to do that. And so you have to be willing and able. And that's how you are able to see if something is achievable. Because if you're not willing and you're not able and you don't have those two lined up, then it's probably not going to be super achievable for you. So take a look at that. And don't set pie in the sky goals just for the sake of setting them. You have to say, what's achievable for me? The next one is relevant. A lot of people have a hard time. What do you mean by, is it relevant? And where I find that it's the most relevant is people that have had a business for a while. They see themselves in maybe those early years, like I used to do this, or my business used to do this. And so you feel like I need to set those same goals. I should be setting those same goals. But in their brain or somewhere inside of themselves, they don't really want to. They don't want to work that hard right now. They're in a different season of life. So their willingness isn't really there. So it might not be relevant to where you are in your journey right now. You need to say, okay, here's the goals I have set, but is that even relevant to where I'm at? Is it relevant to what's important to me? Is it relevant to the season of life that I'm in? Because we're always in a different season of life, right? Depending on, sometimes that's age, sometimes it's how long you've been doing something, Sometimes it's based on the circumstances within your life. Different people are going to go through different seasons, like I mentioned, having an aged parent or starting a family or, getting married or really leaning into your career. Like, you are in a different season of life, and it doesn't always have to do with age. Oftentimes they do kind of align, but you might be a late starter in starting a family. Whatever the case may be, this is the season of life that I'm in. So you have to make sure that your goals are relevant to where you are and what you're willing and able to do. How achievable is it? And the last one is time bound. The T stands for time bound. And that just means that you should put a time element on it. But you're always able to move that. So when I first set my health goals, I thought, okay, a year would be good. Like, let's see where I can get in a year. And then I realized I wasn't completely to my goal in a year. And then it was like, that's okay. So I moved that to, my birthday's on January 3rd. I kind of started on my health journey on September 24th. So I was like, okay, I want to be to my goal by my birthday of this year. And you know what? I was. And if I hadn't have been, maybe I would have just been, actually on my birthday, I was like 2 pounds off of my end goal. And about a week and a half later, I hit that. And so the bottom line is, it's okay. When I hit my birthday and I was 2 pounds off my goal, did I say, oh man, no, I had a time. First was a year, then I moved my time. And then when it came that time, I was like, well, I'm really close. I just need to keep at what I'm doing. And I did. So that's why I think people get hung up on setting goals. But if I hadn't have had that goal, and if I hadn't have moved my needle of the time frame, if you don't have a time frame in it, then everything is random. And random acts will get you random results. It's one of my biggest quotes. But it's true. How you show up just randomly every day and you just don't have any sense, intention, and purpose of anything that you do, you're going to get that type of result. So we set a time, but it doesn't mean that can't be moved, that goalpost can't be moved. Of course it can. But we want to set it because it puts us within a framework of which to work and what we're shooting for. So that is sort of that definition of SMART goals. And then we want to set our priorities for 2026. So there's a variety of different areas that you could set for your business. So priorities could be revenue growth. So I really want to focus on revenue growth this year. It could be customer expansion. So how many new customers am I going to acquire this year? That might be a priority for you. Now, if you made that your priority, guess what's likely to happen? Probably your revenue growth is going to go up. So it's just where we put our priorities and what we're focusing our energies toward. Another one could be on product development. This is the year I really want to lean into creating a couple of new products that I want to be able to sell. Another one is maybe you need to focus on your operational efficiency. Maybe operations is costing you, you're making revenue, but you're spending more revenue because you lack efficiency. And so what we want to do is get our profit margins up. And so we want to look at operations. Operations is going to create efficiency, which means you're going to be able to do more in less time and sometimes with less expense. So that's why we want to look at where the money is coming in, so revenue growth, but we also want to look at where is the money going out, and then how can we close that gap? What are things where we could keep more of the money that we're making? Because I can tell you that people have had goals of taking their business from $3 million to $12 million, but then when they look at what they are making, or retaining, or keeping, it's about the same. Because they took on more and more operations, more employees, and then it ends up being the same. So you would be better off to have a different growth factor in there so that my profitability is actually growing. So that might be something that you're looking at. I really want to look at profits this year and what I'm retaining. Now, any one of these are good things to look at. And then, of course, there could be what is your social media strategies. So maybe there's a way to acquire new customers, and I want to do that through my social media strategies. And so what does that look like? You can put these in kind of a different order, but you should pick out like what are my top 3 priorities for where I want to spend my time this year. And so really, I've given you most of the big ones. And so really analyze what of those things are important to you, because if you will prioritize them, then you will start to put your daily activities, your energies, your things to do, everything that you are focusing on, you're going to be able to align your focus with what your priority is. Otherwise, it's very difficult to focus on all things all of the time. In fact, it's almost next to impossible. So make sure you find some priorities in there. Stay focused on your income producing activities. So I have taught a program called the Power Hour for the last 30 years. And I've taught it to just about every industry and company that you can think of. And whether it's real estate or insurance, Ford Motor Company, General Motors, doctors, all types of different sales organizations, I have taught this time management program too. And one of the key things in that is identifying your 4 income producing activities. And it's so funny because the reason we want to do this is a lot of times we spend energy and time on things that are not income producing. And so you've only got so much time in a day. And so what kind of energy are you giving to your core income producing activities? Doesn't mean we won't have other things that we need to do, right? Absolutely. But you need to make sure that you are giving that time to your income producing activities. So I always teach people in the beginning, if those are things that are hard, like customer care is hard for people, and for a lot of people, they don't even put much energy into it. And yet it's what keeps your customers happy and keeps them coming back for more, allows them to refer you to other people. So all of the things. So we want to have happy customers, right? But they don't even spend any energy or effort in any kind of customer service, customer care. So that's could be one of those income producing activities. In fact, I always tell people that should be one of your income producing activities. Another one is acquiring new customers, because there's a life cycle of a customer. We'll probably talk about that on one of these videos. And so you want to make sure that you're always acquiring new customers, because new customers are golden. They're the most excited. They're going to be likely to refer you to more people at the very beginning of that journey. They usually buy more from you at the beginning of the journey. They're just excited, right? Because they've just discovered something, your product or you, for the very first time. So that should be one of those income producing activities, but it's up to you to identify what they are and then give them 15 minutes of your time, 30 minutes of your time to make sure that no matter what in my day, because otherwise we get oftentimes really bound down like by just activities. Like you're busy in your business, but you're not actually productive in your business. And there is a difference between being busy and being productive. And so when we focus on at least these 4 income producing activities, we know that we're at least spending part of our day and part of our time on things that are going to move the needle, not on things that just create busyness for us. So if you will focus on those things in setting your goals for 2026, I think that you are going to be a lot happier with it, and you're going to start to see some results. And then the last thing, which is super important, and I always really suggest doing this on Sundays, but like make sure you reflect and adjust consistently. And reflecting and adjusting is, okay, how did my week go? What worked, what didn't, what do I need to adjust? Sometimes you need to adjust the goal or the time frame, and sometimes you need to adjust the benchmarks along the way. Sometimes you need to adjust your tasks. Sometimes you need to adjust your income producing activities because I'm focused on this, but it's just not really doing it for me. So is there something else I should be focused on? So these are the things that you always want to do. And I like to do that on Sunday, but you can pick whatever day of the week that you want to do your reflect and adjust. The reason I like doing it on Sundays is because I don't do a lot else. I usually try to go for like a long bike ride on Sundays or a walk, or I have a family day. We'll have dinners. Like Sunday, I like to just be a totally relaxed day. But on Sunday evening, after the day is over, I like to sit down and reflect on my week and set my new benchmarks for the week coming up. It's just been my routine for a number of years, and it kind of just gets me in the mindset of, okay, it's a new week. Here we go. What are we going to make happen? So hopefully this was helpful to you, and I would ask you to either put in the comments, like maybe what's your priority this year with your business and one of those things that I mentioned, or what kind of SMART goal have you set? So it's going to be important. I think finding the priority of what you want to work on, I think that's probably one of the most important. And you can drop that into the comments. Again, we've got a wonderful resource and tool. We have a planner. It's called the Everyday Entrepreneur Planner, and it's really designed with many of these things in mind so that you can actually follow along with it, plan your day, do your reflect and adjust. All of that is in it. So I encourage you to check that out, and you can find the link for that in the description. So don't forget to hit subscribe. I'm trying to remember to say that every time. Sometimes doing good, sometimes not. But don't forget to hit subscribe. And then if you learned something today, or you have a friend that you think could benefit from anything that I've shared today, don't forget to share it with them. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.